Conor the Notorious McGregor lives up to his name. Being one of the most iconic and successful stars in the world of fighting, it's no surprise that McGregor is also one of the most feared superstars in the octagon. In this video, we're going to talk about what it is about Conor McGregor that makes him so feared amongst his rivals. First, we have McGregor's journey in the UFC. Mr. Notorious has had one of the most prolific careers of any athlete in the fighting world. Having had one of the most successful initial breakouts in the UFC, McGregor became an absolute superstar in an incredibly short period. With his iconic left punch, his larger-than-life persona, and his ability to entertain both before and after the fight, McGregor was born for the spotlight. He's an entertainer, and he knows just how to entertain. He was on a 15-fight win streak up until 2016 on his loss against Nate Diaz. He retired in April 2016, which was just the first of his many retirements. He was the first man to hold two titles from two different weight classes, and he's had some of the most entertaining fights and rivalries in all of UFC. McGregor's probably not the guy fighters are scared of anymore though. He's definitely not as scary as he used to be in his prime. Many think it's the fame that has dulled his killer instinct. Who knows? He got injured in 2021 against Dustin Poirier and had to get surgery. Now, on his way to recovery, he's eyeing a return again to the ring later this summer. So now let's finally talk about what it is that made Conor McGregor so dominant in the fighting ring. Next, it's all about the mind. Trash talking is definitely an art form. Not everyone can do it, but those who can do it and do it well can definitely get an advantage over their opponents. You want to take every little opportunity to rile your opponent up ahead of the fight. Go after them with insults every chance you get. You try to get in their head just cause it can give you a slight edge come fight night, tipping the scales ever so slightly in your direction before the final showdown. And Conor McGregor is a master of this feat. McGregor loves playing mind games. For McGregor, everything leading up to the fight is a game, while the fight itself is free of any emotion. In his own words, he is the mental champ. It doesn't matter how good your defenses are or how strong your mental fortitude is, McGregor will definitely find a way to tear you apart mentally before taking you on inside the octagon. 13 seconds is all you need. Don't believe us? Well, just ask Jose Aldo. Jose Aldo was a featherweight world champion at the time of his fight against McGregor. Having been undefeated for the better part of a decade, Aldo went against Mr. Notorious in a title fight for the featherweight championship. In the pre-fight pressers, McGregor, the master trash talker that he is, found a way to get in the head of his much more experienced opponent. So much so that on the day of the fight, McGregor knocked out Aldo in a record 13 seconds. Aldo rushed McGregor at the start of the fight, leaving him wide open to McGregor's infamous left punches, and the rest was history. Brutal! Delivering scathing one-liners comes naturally to Mr. McGregor. The Irishman is known for his hard-hitting one-liners that just leave his opponents red-faced. One such instance of this was during a pre-fight press conference in 2016 for UFC 205 between the Notorious and Jeremy Stephens. During the press conference, a reporter asked McGregor who he thought would be his toughest fight. Before he could say anything, Stephens answered the question for him, saying that he would be McGregor's toughest fight. McGregor, proving that he truly is the mental champ, looked both ways, pretending to be confused as to who was speaking, and delivered one of the most unforgettable one-liners with, "Who the F is that guy?" The sledge instantly went viral and became one of McGregor's most iconic quotes, of which he has no shortage of. Lesson learned, you don't trash talk Conor McGregor. Next, backing it up in the ring, McGregor isn't just tough talk though. Oh no, he's not the kind of fighter that's all bark and no bite. When McGregor bites, he bites. After all, to be one of the most prolific names in the UFC, you need to be able to, well, fight. That's what it's all about at the end of the day. But unlike a lot of fighters in the ring that are just trash talkers, Conor has the firepower to back his words up in the ring, especially in that left hand of his. The lethal combo really did make him one of the most feared fighters in the ring. The dual champion, we've already talked about McGregor's fight with Aldo. That was undeniably one of his best performances during his career. But that's not the only big feat that the Irishman has to his name. His fight with Eddie Alvarez is just as noteworthy. In 2016, McGregor, the featherweight title holder at the time, was eyeing the 155-pound lightweight title as well. Now, it's not new for fighters to try and fight for a title outside of their division, but McGregor was going for two championships. Never before had a fighter held two belts at the same time, but Mr. Notorious is no ordinary fighter. He challenged Eddie Alvarez, the champion of the lightweight division. Eddie was no pushover. He won the title for himself after defeating Rafael dos Anjos in a spectacular performance, proving that he was more than worthy of the title. But McGregor, being who he is, ran through Alvarez's defenses with no trouble at all. McGregor ended the fight in the second round, landing his final blows with a 4-to-5 punch combo, making him the first dual title holder. Up next, Dustin Poirier vs. Conor McGregor 2. Going back a couple of years to another brilliant display of Conor McGregor's fighting ability and why he's so dangerous. In 2014, McGregor, the Notorious, was facing off against Dustin the Diamond Poirier. Conor wasn't the most seasoned fighter at the time, standing at number 9 in the featherweight rankings. He was going up against the number 5 fighter, Dustin Poirier. This was a serious jump in scale, even for McGregor, but like all of his fights, McGregor's first plan of attack is to launch mental warfare on his opponents. Before the fight even began, Poirier seemed like he wanted more for McGregor to shut up than to focus on the actual fight. Playing to Conor's strengths, Poirier fell for his antics, hook, line, and sinker, and on the day of the fight, he folded over minutes into the first round. Conor, with his infamous left hand, clipped Poirier right behind the ear, combining that with a barrage of strikes until the referee ended the fight, with McGregor's arm raised. Poirier and McGregor went up against each other twice in 2021, with Conor not being in the best shape. Poirier came out on top in both of these results. Nate Diaz, the American MMA fighter, was the first person to ever defeat Mr. McGregor. Like all great fighters, McGregor got a reality check in 2016 when he faced off against Nate Diaz, putting an end to his 15-win streak. In their first bout, McGregor won the first round, and like all his fights up until now, he expected it to end quickly. Diaz, however, survived the beating and finally found the opportunity to strike back, handing the Irishman his first loss in the UFC. But McGregor wouldn't be McGregor if he backed away from a challenge. He challenged Diaz again later in 2016. This time, McGregor was better prepared for a longer fight, dominating Diaz again in the first round and the second round with his famed left-hand combos. Diaz fought back in the later rounds, putting Conor on the back foot. The fight went back and forth for all 5 rounds, with both fighters not wanting to yield. The fight, however, finally ended with McGregor being declared the winner. This fight, despite not being the quickest, was definitely a highlight of McGregor's career, making him one of the greats in the UFC. So what's McGregor up to now? McGregor has been out of the spotlight for a while now. When he went for his third bout against Poirier in UFC 264, he broke his leg during the first round of the fight when he kicked Poirier's elbow. The injury put him out for months and cost him the fight against Poirier. Now on his way to recovery, he wants to make his way back to the octagon. Hoping to come back this summer, the Irishman is eyeing a fight with the welterweight champion, Kamaru Usman, saying he wants to be the first person to win in 3 different weight divisions and feels that Usman poses no challenge for him. Dana White has made no such promises as of yet, but has hinted that McGregor's next matchup could be a title fight. Usman, who's recovering from a hand injury, is already promised a fight against Leon Edwards, who is on a 9-fight win streak. That probably means that White meant for McGregor to go for the lightweight title. Let's wait and see what happens. That's a wrap for this video. So what do you guys think makes McGregor so feared? Let us know in the comments down below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. We'll see you in the next one.